Hello, I'm Scott, the breathing guy. I'll train you to locate, generate, activate your core key energy in physical activity. This video is the art of putting exploration, and this is lower body, and this is the box stance, the most popular way of putting for feet working. I explore the lower body, upper body, and hands. Those are the three areas that sets up your putting. And finding your art to putting is by exploring the different ways you can move to get that fluidity, get that sensitivity. It is a true art to putt physically, relationship to the putter you pick, everything. It's a tool. It's like anything that is like a weapon, or you become part of it, making your club, your putter, part of you within the physical movement you created to achieve your goal. Hitting that face in a fluid way at a certain pressure to get the ball in. So I'm going to explore your box stance. What's a box stance? I've already got one video on the closed stance. That's this. So you're moving the feet even. So box stance is your feet are even here. Most popular way for most, if you want to say pros, the lower body. Now let me explain that to you. When you get in that position, you have a tendency to putt with your elbows bent. It's the easiest way. So it's much more of a wrist putt than anything else. Two, you want to deal with feet, balance, always 50-50. If anything, a little 60-40, but you never want to be your weight on the heel. Weight on the heel tightens the back muscles, restricts movement, restricts fluidity. I don't care who you are. And if you're over 50, it amplifies any form of muscle tension within that. So balance is very critical to make the upper body move. I will deal with upper body and hands later on in each one of the different footwork and what. But right now, it's the close. Now, if you watch different people, your feet are closer, a little farther apart, or way apart. Now, what is the effect? The closer your feet are together, like here, if you try to wave, it's easier to move your shoulders. But if you go out here, your shoulders won't move as much. And if you go way out here, you can test it. Try to go back, you'll feel everything tightening up more. The farther your feet apart shortens the distance it's comfortable for your putter to move. So if you want a large range of motion, or you want to take it back a little way and then follow through good, you have your feet like this, close together, box stance, close together. If you do not want to go back so far and follow through so much, put your feet, if you want to say on the outside of your shoulders, that. And if you really want to restrict where you just have a very short putt, it's like, okay, like that, put your feet apart. But you can feel the effect in the upper body, in the distance as your feet go out. Test it, what I say. That's the key, because you might like feet like this, and that creates one sensation. Or versus if you want to be more fluid. Two, always tilt. So when you're tilting, think of your chest here going forward, not your head. A lot of people, when they tilt, they go, okay, no. Chin here, here, that way your shoulders are down, stabilized. If your head's forward, like this, your shoulders can go up and down. If your head is back in a natural like this, where your back's shoulders apart, nice, the shoulders are stable. If you don't want your shoulders to come up and down, in the golf swing or in putting, your chin placement, so your spine sets the shoulders up where it's going to be. So with this right here, there's a lot of different ways you can do it with the upper body. Both people, but they do it like this, when their feet are together, watch where they rock their shoulders. They go back like this, like that. So they do the rocking shoulders motion, that's one. And the other one, they do the wrist action dance, where you go like this. You can go down low, and you literally get like this, paw, you involve. So understanding in the box form, most people either use the shoulders or they bend the knees. Two, bending the knees. A lot of people, if you watch golfers, they bend their knees a lot. What is the effect of bending your knees really low like this? Like this. Actually, believe it or not, you have more waggle or in your hips, your chin set, where if you just like lean forward, bend like this, someone pushes against your hip, it's not going to move. But if your knees go too low, why do you go low? So you can do this. That's why you don't want to go too low, because it actually destabilizes the hip. How do you stabilize the hip? Is just what's natural. If you bend out here, and drop, and then press your little toe, both little toes into the floor, into the ground, and soften shoulders in. Then push against the person's hip. They're very stable for given what you're trying to do. If you want stability, you don't want to bend your knees well, because then you have to tighten up a whole group of muscles, and that just restricts everything. It's great when you're young, but after 40, 50, it will impede the feeling sensation, the ability, and you might have hiccups where you're trying to move around, and all of a sudden your muscle twitch. You got to call it the twitch effect on that. So when you're like this, and you want the rocking shoulders, notice my hands are all coming together as a V. The ball is slightly in front of my belly button. The club is right in front of my middle of my body on that. And I go back with the shoulders and I come down like that. So that's the shoulder tilt. The other way is if you bend your knees way big, maybe squeeze your knees. A lot of them, when they bend too far, they squeeze their knees together. That tightens the muscles so you don't move. That's a lot of, how can I say, effort. Making putting feel effortless, fluid is it. Otherwise you're going to go the opposite way, make your putting feel tight, firm, and you put a lot of physical effort, mind, feeling to get the right sensation to work the putter head. Both requires training, practice. Get that feel so it comes natural. When you get the putting feel, you know you're going to make it or get close. It's just the way it feels. When you get that level of practice, training, but picking which form you want, a closed stance, a box stance, or an open stance, and understanding what each stance will give you. You want it far apart. That way you're like this. You can't move your shoulders much to here. That limits. Closer to the feet, the greater the rock. Farther feet apart, the less you can move. Or if you really go far out, you don't even move your shoulders. You can go like this, totally wrist. So that's the advantage of having your feet apart. It's virtually totally wrist. That's all you got, because it sets the body up. But don't ever bend way down low like this, because you have to put your knees to your squeeze like that to be stable. So understanding the lower body options, finding what art, these are all like colors or ideas that you can test what works best for you, what feels good for you, that makes your body flow, makes your muscles go in that direction. You have less restriction. So this is the box stance putting form, the options, what it does to you, how far apart, but always, I don't care what stance you get, 50-50 balance. Unless you want your back tightened up, if you like it with the heel back, find what works for you. You're creating the art of your own putting. That's the number one rule. I'm not telling you which is better for you, which I can't, because your body's different, your vision is different. There's so many senses that you have that are different in everyone. That's why you got to find your part. And I'm just giving you a range of testing what works best for you, what makes you fluid. How do you judge a good putt, form? Is it fluid? Does it feel effortless? That makes it fun. If it makes it feel effort, you're going to avoid putting like you fear, fire, because you're going to feel, I don't have enough tight. You're going to question yourself. If it feels natural and fluid, you're just going to do it. It's going to come all together, and it's all based on practice of which one form you want in your footwork is the beginning. So this is Scott, the breathing guy. This is the art of putting exploration, lower body, box stance.